Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Factorio, a game about automating, killing bugs and sending rockets. I spent in this game over 900 hours, and now long-awaited DLC is coming out. I have been waiting for this my entire life, so it really can't be that hard, right? But let's start simple. Mining iron, then mining some stone for furnaces and burner miners. But then I remembered that no Factorio player does that because it is taking too long. So I went for small adventure, for George's Rocks. 11 rocks later we had everything to build small early base. So let's speed things up using our edit skills, because we have many other things to do to fly into space. Here is our first small base. It has everything that the base needs, from belts and inserters automation to red and green science packs production. Then I thought that I need more steel. So I built this monstrosity, but it was definitely too big for my demands at that time, to the point when it never used steel from last 8 furnaces. After I put too much work in that, I started thinking about bigger base, and I chose building easy in expanding main base, so our pretty city blocks comes in. We needed to find large enough surface for our factory, so I chose forest in the left from our starter base. I placed blueprint and started deforesting this place. I prepared some grenades, so it was really easy to destroy these trees. After that, I placed bricks over the designated place, and connected power poles to have energy everywhere. And the city blocks have been completed. With this prepared place, we have nothing else to do than building iron smelters. So I did that. 3 times 40 furnaces will be enough for machines, belts and inserters factory. We will be using these items always, so this factory is crucial for our future. So I quickly built it and connected iron plates. With that we have fully automated tier 2 of belts, and in the future other key items. Quick break to destroy these awful wooden power poles. No one likes you. Coming back to work, we needed to automate more key buildings, so it's time for second mall, with power poles, assemblers and turrets. But for these items we needed also steel, a lot of steel. And now it's time to build this huge smelter from our first base. So I done that in third block. I built 3 of these monstrosities and now we'll have enough steel for our production lines. With steel finished, we needed to start oil processing, but again, we needed more buildings. So what time is it? Time for third mall! And I swear, it is the last one. For a while. This time a bunch of buildings, like chemical plants, refineries and everything train related. To start train system we need green inserters, but we don't have red circuits. So I built small refinery to get some plastic. When doing that, I found out that with new infinite throughput pipelines, they need pumps every certain length. That's good to know. After this hard time with pipes, we needed to start train system. But apparently my old blueprints don't work in 2.0 with new rail curves. So I needed to completely recreate my train intersections. It was so easy that after a moment I started building rails to copper and iron deposits. It wasn't easy as it sounds. I used a lot of grenades to destroy trees, but after a while, first railway was complete. We were short on iron, because Belt Factory was eating them very quickly, so I constructed iron outpost. 100 miners later we had new huge iron supply. Look at this beautifulity. When we came back, it turned out we don't have enough energy, so I added more boilers and problem was quickly solved. Half of our mall assemblers wasn't working, as they didn't have green circuits, so it was time to build their production. It took me a while, but as a Factorio player I have a bunch of blueprints for everything, so it was just place right building in correct place. This will be a killer for resources, but definitely as we expand it will be a salvation. But when we turn it on, like I said, lack of copper plates appeared, so it was time for another outpost. Same style, same 100 miners, and after a tedious work, it was done. Then I went to nearest oil and built extraction point. Few tanks and pumps connected to them in order to load trains faster, and oil train could go here anytime for this black gold. We are trying to achieve plastic factory, and to get plastic we need 2 things. First is getting more coal, and second is oil cracking. Let's start from coal, another mining outpost. This time something around 200 miners placed as fast as possible, and coal supply was ready to go. Then oil cracking. For now it will be simple, just 6 refineries and we will have some petroleum gas for plastic. And speaking of it, let's build these production lines. It will be definitely killer for our oil cracking, but we will deal with it later. Now, when you have plastic, it is time to build red circuits. And there they are. With them on board, we can finally build better science factories. So, automation and logistics science all in one. Next is chemical science, which is a little bit harder to construct, but not for player like me. The only problem which we have is sulfur demand. We need it for blue science, so let's make it up near oil cracking. Water and petroleum gas combined, and we have these great yellow crystals. Of course, it was not without mistakes. I connected water to pipe where gas needed to be, but I quickly repaired that. Sulfur now is connected to science build, and now we are gained access to blue research. After small research, it was time to rebuild oil cracking for advanced recipe. This process is taking oil and water, giving us heavy oil for lubricant, light oil for rocket fuel and more petroleum gas. And here is our new refinery. Next on our to-do list are bots. These small robots will stop us from building everything by hand, speeding things up. So I made the small robots assembly. They needed batteries, which we don't have. So I also built small production of them. You may not believe me, but this robots factory will be enough for the whole game. With construction bots in robot ports, we can just sit in place and watch how our hardly built early base is being deconstructed in the meantime. The power problem is on the horizon, so as we have uranium near to base, it's time to harvest it. I covered whole patch with miners, connected sulfur acid, built a balancer and placed some centrifuges for uranium processing, in order to get lots of happy green rocks. It will take a while, so I jumped into setting up nuclear reactor. It was fast to build thanks to robots, so I only started it with uranium fuel cells. And here, quick disclaimer, I built purple science and blue circuit production, but video of that was corrupted. I'm really sorry for that. With this power boost, it was time for yellow science. Now I can just place blueprint and do other things, and it will be built by robots. With yellow science on board, there is nothing left but build rocket. But to do this we need 3 things. Blue circuits, that we already have, low density structure and rocket fuel. I built low density structure with separate copper smelting and quickly connected them to already built science assemblers. Then I quickly built rocket fuel crafting, next to low density production. After I done that, I placed first rocket silo, connected every ingredient and watched how our first rocket is going to space. In space, I spent first hour trying to understand how is it working, but after some time, I constructed first white science production. It was really simple, but it was working, so for now it will be enough. When I was waiting for white science, I thought that we need better fuel for trains. So I set nuclear fuel production, 4 centrifuges with productivity, some beacons with speed modules, and that will be enough for our trains. We were short on oil, so I went to build new outpost. When doing that, we researched atomic bombs, so it was time to craft first one and peacefully talk with our neighbors. After explosions, it was time to set up things for going into deep space. So, rocket hub was needed. Lots of beacons and modules later, it was ready to launch hundreds rockets in minutes. So, I made this small platform. 5 turrets, small production of ammunition, asteroid reprocessing into fuels, and we had first space ship. I filled it with useful items to quick start on new planet, and I went for first interplanetary trip. And we landed on Fulgora. For me, best first planet to go. I built really first early base in which I made much of items by running over and over between machines, and I crafted first electromagnetic plant. This small island was definitely not good for expanding in future, so I gathered crucial items and went in search of bigger island complex to set up proper base. After a while, I chose this interesting place to settle. I placed first train and miners on scrap patch and found out that recycling scrap here is not best idea, so we will have to rebuild it in future. I chose to build full logistic robot base, so I placed provider chest for unloading train wagons and started building robots factory. In the meantime, I made first science build, but I forgot to record it, so now we have our first rocket transport to platform. Then I sent this platform back to Nauvis, unloaded science on surface and researched most important technologies. Then it was time to expand base, so I started from building huge power plants with accumulators and lightning rods in closest big island. Then I created really good, in my opinion, scrap recycling plant. And again we needed robots production, so I took care of it. With scrap recycling we are having big problem with excess items like gears and copper wires. For addition, we also don't have other things like iron plates or plastic. So I designed a trashing facility. From future perspective it was definitely dumb, but for then it was enough. And now it's time for proper magnetic science production. So I started from building ice reprocessing for water and holmium solution factory, which is made by combining previously built water with holmium ore, gathered from recycling scrap. From this, we are creating holmium plates, needed for supercapacitors, which I quickly built near to plate assemblers. For supercapacitors and science, we also need electrolyte and superconductors. So I also placed crafting of them close to already built parts of science production. For science, we still need to create accumulators. So 20 facilities and we are done with them. I want to have 10 science per second, so I built 20 electromagnetic plants, put there some speed and productivity modules and connected ingredients, and with this, first proper science production was finished. With switching into new base, you have like 1 million items left in storage chests on first island, so it was time for deleting all of them by using old but not forgotten bullets. Now, when you have proper science, we need to build rockets to send them to orbit, but we don't have rocket fuel, so let's do this. As we are getting solid fuel from scrap, it wasn't hard to place some assemblers and make a little bit of light oil. So I was done in minutes, including rocket silos. At that point we had power problems, when storm was not storming, so I decided to transform 2 additional islands for energy collecting. With this we are safe with power for a while. Next we needed to do something with excess materials from recycling. I told you that first trash facilities was not great, so I used new circuit conditions to only allow train to be unloaded when we are low on one of crucial materials. In the meantime, science arrived on Nauvis, and I researched new mech armor. It's now so easy to get around. It is huge game changer, one of main arguments to go on Fulgora first. Coming back to work, now I built a really good delating system that actually does his work efficiently. Now we are having self-sustainable base that will always run correctly, so we can go back to home planet. Just after landing on Nauvis, I already started preparation for Vulcanus expedition by researching this planet. But when doing that, I seen that we have problems with white science, so I rebuilt it to be bigger, faster and to use productivity modules. In future, we will have to consider to build science on moving platform to have more resources. But for now, it's more than enough. With this work came problems with steel, because we used it a lot to make platform foundations. So I changed stone furnaces for electric with addition of modules. For now we are safe. Then I built a new upgraded version of traveling platform for our trip on Vulcanus. More turrets, more ammo, more asteroid reprocessing, more fuel production and more space in cargo. I packed my things, went to space and started another space journey. 100 destroyed asteroids later we landed on Vulcanus, the hottest planet in solar system. I quickly set up first base with steam production from sulfuric acid and power generation from steam. We needed foundries, so I made small automation of them. Then I thought that here we also need bots, and for them we need red circuits, so simple cold liquefaction for plastic and lubricant. And with that I built electric engines factory, then flying robot frame, and then bots assemblers. With this you can again do everything faster by using George's robots. After first automations in our factory, it was time to conquer land near us. I went and killed first demolisher, then second demolisher and then third one. Clean and nice work. Next we needed more plastic and more lubricant, so I expanded cold liquefaction for bigger one. Then I built train to tungsten. It was hard because of the lava lakes, but somehow I made it. I placed 8 big mining drills, adjusted them with beacons and speed modules, and just like that we had tungsten outpost. With big supply of tungsten, it was time to build huge metallurgical science production, around 10 per second. We needed 3 things: tungsten plates, tungsten carbide and molten copper. First was really easy, just raw ore and molten iron, so I just placed lots of foundries. Then carbide, again raw ore and carbon, so I built few assemblers and something around 20 chemical plants. When finishing building we had everything for science, so it started flowing. With ready science we needed to send it back to Nauvis, so we have to build rocket hub. I started from building circuit production. First green ones with use of foundries, really easy to build with robopores in armor, then red ones near to green and blue near to red. Next is low density structure. So again, some foundries with modules, and as quick as that we are done with 2 rocket parts. In the meantime I made small amount of rocket fuel to just send some science back to Nauvis. Built first rocket and first science cargo went to home planet. With this I researched better cold liquefaction and tier 4 belts. We needed better belts, so I set up belts, undergrounds and balances crafting in foundries, connected tungsten and molten iron, and just like that we had steady supply of turbo belts. With them on board I reconstructed whole oil processing. Now we are combining steam, heavy oil and coal to get more of heavy oil, light oil and a little bit of petroleum gas. And I made crafting of lubricant for production lines, and huge recrafting to get as much of petroleum gas for plastic as I could get from this liquefaction. With this huge supply of gas, I built a large enough plastic factory to meet our circuits and low density production. 2 of these blueprints with modules gives us 2 full turbo belts of plastic, much more than we actually need. Also, with light oil that is crafted there, I built rocket fuel assemblers. With them automated, we have everything that self-sustainable base need to work without me on surface. Then I went for small adventure in search of more coal. When I was traveling, I killed worms using uranium tank shells, which are really effective, and after a while I found big coal patch, really close to our base. It will be definitely useful in future. With this base working without any help, I went into rocket and came back to Nauvis. I thought that now I will go to Gleba, so I researched it, jumped into rocket and went for another unforgettable adventure. We will survive that, don't we? Oh no.